We grow when we give.
We grow when we give.
We grow when we give.
Nosotros crecemos cuando damos.
We grow when we give.
与えるとき成長する。
We grow when we give.
Welcome to R.O.G, Return on Generosity, a podcast celebrating generosity at work. Not financial giving, giving valuable time, alternative perspectives, and genuine collaboration. Welcome to R.O.G, Generous Leadership Coaching Tips. I'm your host, Shannon Cassidy. We're still working through the 5-degree principle, how small changes lead to big results. And this week we're looking at chapter 11, one of my all-time favorites, titled Rewrite Your Limiting Stories. How do we rewrite our limiting stories? The opening quote is from the film director Shekhar Kapur, and he writes, "We are the stories we tell ourselves." How true is that? We are the stories we tell ourselves. So in this chapter, what we're looking at is interpretation, perception, storytelling, meaning making about the things that happen in our lives and how might we look at them with a more empowered lens of agency. The framework that is spelled out in this chapter is the thought leadership of Dr. Sharon Melnick. And years ago, she walked me through this framework, and it's so simple that it's stuck, and I have been able to leverage it in navigating certain situations in my own life. So for those of you joining me on YouTube, you'll see this visual right here. For those who are joining audio only, I'm going to explain it. So there's 4 columns that we're looking at. These are the 4 ways to look at this. And we'll use an example as we're going through it for illustration. So the first column is the X factor, or the facts, the things that actually happened. So let's use a familiar example of it's 6:30 p.m. You run to the grocery store because you need to get 4 items to make dinner. You go to the 10 items or less checkout line, and someone with a full cart jets in front of you and starts to put their groceries on the conveyor belt. That's what happened. The next column is what are we going to make that mean? What is our leading story to interpret those facts? So my lead story in this saga is that this person is so rude and disrespectful, and they don't value my time, and they can't read signs because they clearly have more than 10 items. And this is utter disrespect. The third column in the framework is what does that story tell us about us? So like, what does that interpretation tell me about myself? And I'm judgmental. I'm not as gracious as I like to think I am. I am impatient, and I don't always tell great stories. The fourth column, and fourth and final, is the alternative meanings or alternative stories that we could tell to the things that happen, the X. And so alternative stories could be anything from something outrageous, like this person has a limousine waiting for them outside because they just got married and they're going to celebrate and they needed to run in and grab a couple of things, to this person's in a mad rush. They have an elderly parent at home that they're caring for, and they're trying to wedge in a quick grocery shop on the way home from work. Or there's someone who didn't realize that grocery shopping was delegated to them. They're responsible. They're about to come home empty-handed, and they had to run in real quick and get things as soon as possible, or anything in between. Because the contents in column 4, the alternative stories, are equally as true as what's in column 2, which is our lead story. Because the only thing that's actually true is what's in column 1, which are the facts, the things that happened. So this framework is created to help us have agency and tell stories worth telling. So I want you to think about a situation at work that you're experiencing right now where you feel an injustice, or you feel disrespected or hurt or excluded or something along those lines. And I just want you to break it down and say, like, what are the things that happened? What was the thing that was said, the email that was sent or not sent, the meeting that you were invited to or not, the congratulations that you received or not? Like, what is the thing? What were the facts of the matter?
how did you interpret that? What was the story you told about those things? What does that interpretation tell you about yourself, to be self-reflective? Almost all of mine come down to being insecure and judgmental, just as a FYI. And then the fourth column of the creative liberty that you could take with this situation to retell the story or reframe the information in a way that provides you the generosity and the grace to approach it with more power. So please do that this week. Give it a shot. See how it goes. And very often what you'll learn is you just need more information before you can tell an accurate story about what's going on. So be curious, stay generous, and please join me next week with Amy Volas. Stay generous, everyone.
Thanks for listening to R.O.G. Return on Generosity podcast. Please help us grow by subscribing and reviewing us on your favorite podcast player. And for more information, visit bridgebetween.com. We grow when we give.
우리는 나누면서 성숙합니다.
We grow when we give.
On rayonne quand on donne.
We grow when we give.